structure of the heart. Today we are going to discuss about the cardiac cycle. First of all, what is cardiac cycle? One contraction and one relaxation of heart is called cardiac cycle. How it takes place and when does it start? That is how the cardiac cycle of the heart starts from the 21st day of the embryo, when the embryo is present inside the womb, mother's womb. Means during the development of the embryo itself, the heart beat starts and helps in the growth of the baby, and it does not stop until the person dies. When it stops, the person will die. So one contraction and one relaxation of heart is called cardiac cycle. You know that the arteries supply oxygenated blood and veins supply deoxygenated blood. So during the pumping of the heart, the deoxygenated blood enters through inferior and superior vena cava into the right atria and enters into the left ventricle, and through the pulmonary aorta it is supplied to the lungs, and from the pulmonary vein it enters into the left atria, and from the left atria it enters into the left ventricle, and through the systemic aorta it is supplied throughout the body. So when the heart, the atria contracts, the ventricles are in the relaxed state. When the ventricles are in the relaxed state, the auricles are in the contracted state. See, if suppose these are the auricles and these are the ventricles, when the auricles are contracted, the ventricles are in relaxed state. When the ventricles are in the contracted phase, the auricles are relaxed state. So when the auricles are getting contracted, the blood which is present in the auricles enters into the ventricles, and when the ventricles are at that time, the ventricles are in the relaxed position. When the ventricles are in the contracted phase, the auricles get relaxed state. So the blood which is present in the ventricle enters into the pulmonary aorta and systemic aorta through the walls. So to prevent the backward flow of the blood from ventricles to auricles, the bicuspid and tricuspid valve help to prevent that backward flow. And when the auricles are getting contracted, the ventricles are in relaxed position, and the blood enters from the auricles to the ventricles. But here these valves, the pulmonary valves and systemic valves, are also helps to prevent the backward flow. Means it also helps in the prevention of entering the blood again from ventricles into the auricles. So when the auricles are contracted, the blood enters from the atria to the ventricles. Automatically the valves which are present between both the arteries will close. Why? Because to prevent the backward flow. Again, when the ventricles are getting contracted, the blood may flow back into the auricles. That's why these two valves, bicuspid and tricuspid valves, helps to prevent that flow. At that time, you may hear a sound called dub. And when these ventricles are in the contracted phase, at that time the auricles are relaxed state, and these ventricles push the blood through the pulmonary and systemic state. At that time, the deoxygenated blood from the superior and inferior vena cava and through the pulmonary aorta enters into the right and left arteria. Again, during the contraction, these blood may enter into the ventricles. Means here, because of the contraction of these ventricles, the blood may enter again into the ventricles. So, these walls which are present in the systemic aorta, that is systemic wall and pulmonary wall, helps to prevent these backward flow into the ventricles again. In this way, these walls helpful to prevent the backward flow. And at that time, the walls which are present in pulmonary aorta and systemic aorta closes. You can hear a sound called dub. So, it takes place simultaneously. When the auricles are in the contracted phase, the ventricles are in relaxed state. It means it is not in the relaxed state. It is pushing the blood into the pulmonary and systemic aorta, and the walls are closed. Then the blood which is present in the auricles enters into the ventricles. At that time, the ventricles getting contracted and auricles are relaxed. So here, when the ventricles are getting contracted, these walls will open. The walls between here, systemic aorta and pulmonary aorta opens and send the blood into lungs and our body. And the blood enters from the auricles. At that time, these walls are closed. Then you can hear a sound called love. So simultaneously, one is getting contracted and other is getting relaxed. So this contraction and relaxation phase of the heart is called cardiac cycle. You can see two phases here. One is systole and other one is diastole. Here we are hearing a love sound in the pulmonary and systemic aorta walls are closed. That is called systole. At that phase we call it as systolic phase. And when we hear the dub sound, means when tricuspid and bicuspid walls are closed, you can hear a sound called dub. It is nothing but diastole. Here both systole and diastole. Based on the systole and diastole only, we are going to check the BP of a person. That is nothing but blood pressure. One auricle contraction means dub sound. It takes place 0.11 to 0.14 seconds. Whereas for ventricular contraction, it takes 0.27 to 0.35 seconds. See how much very short time it is taking to get a cardiac cycle. Means to take one contraction and relaxation of the heart. How much fast it is pumping its blood throughout our body. Not only to the body, it is also rotating from the lungs to the body and from the lungs to body and from body to lungs and then back to the heart. Here how many times the blood is rotating? One time it is entering from through body parts and again it is supplying to the lungs. Again from the lungs it is getting back into the heart and again it is spreading to the body parts. For this it is taking very little time. Next, here the blood is entering into the heart. One time, that is the deoxygenated blood through the superior and inferior vena cava, and another time means when it is getting oxygenated in the lungs, again coming to the heart, means here two times through the pulmonary veins, again it is getting to the heart. Here both the times, two times the blood is entering into the heart. So we call it as double circulation. The blood is entering from superior and inferior vena cava, that is the deoxygenated blood, and one is the oxygenated blood from the lungs. Here for one rotation motion, one rotation, one cardiac cycle, the blood is entering twice. That's why we call it as double circulation. Whereas in the lower organisms like fishes, the blood will not enter twice. The blood will supply means the blood reaches the heart only one time. In such type of conditions we call it as single circulation. Whereas in the amphibians, reptiles, mammals, the blood enters the heart twice. So we call it as double circulation. Okay children, try to write your own points. We will continue in the next class. Thank you.